to this podcast today, and today we'll be discussing very important topic. We'll be discussing a few key issues that you are expected to know as a business owner. We're asking the question, and it's a question and a worry at the same time that I'm bringing to you. Now, every day, your business is making sales. But what happens is that at the end of the month, you struggle to meet up with your bills. Where is the money going to? In this episode, we'll be discussing some key aspects of the business that you might have neglected and that you are not aware that are very, very useful in making sure that the business don't work as expected. The first question we're asking ourselves this evening or at this hour is your business actually profitable, or you are simply making a lot of sales? Now, what happens is that a lot of businesses and business owners confuse the difference between sales and profit, right? Yes, they basically assume that because the business is making sales or making a lot of sales, it means the business is profitable. No. I'll give you a simple example. Take, for instance, somebody comes to the business and basically the best person orders something worth 500,000 francs. Now, the cost of serving that customer is around 470,000. Yes, what is left for the business is 30,000 francs. So the margin that you are getting from that product is very low. And meanwhile, the company and the bank will be reporting 500,000 francs. The truth is that that is not your money. And you may think that, well, we have made a lot of sales, 500,000 is a huge amount of money. But that is not the real business. And so, what am I telling you this evening and this hour? If you want to succeed in your business, the first thing is that you need to understand that there is a difference between sales and profit. Right? Now, to judge your profit, to judge what the business is doing, the first thing is for you is to look at the margins. If you are selling anything, the first thing you should ever calculate first is the margins. How much am I making from this product? Net expenses. Right? Now, there are direct expenses. That's why in accounting we talk about cost of goods sold. You must know the cost of goods, and when the cost of goods sold is pretty high, such that what you are left with is too small, then no matter how you do, your business will not be successful. That is the first important thing you have to take note of. When the cost of goods sold is very high, leaving you with very little margins, then that business will always struggle. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to check again to be sure that your is not making a lot of sales and still is the frequency. Now, if your margins are low, but the frequency of sale is high, then you may likely win. But if you have a business, and frequency means it's something that you are giving out almost on daily basis, like somebody wants it on daily basis. So you must ensure that you are dealing with something that even if the margins are small, you are making at least so many sales in a day. Take, for instance, MTN. Now, let's assume that MTN is making just 10 francs per each transaction, which they will certainly be making more than that. But for them to be able to be profitable, they need to make at least maybe 1,000 plus transactions in a day for them to make maybe 100,000 or so. Now, you see that the higher the number of transactions, the better MTN can make profits. So in sum, what are we saying? You need to understand something about business management. You need to understand that for you to be successful in business, you always aim as a management to reduce the difference between your sales and the cost of achieving whatever you're selling. If you are an inventory running business, please get to know your cost of goods sold. How much did you buy this thing? Now, the cost of goods sold is something far different from that. Let's assume that you are importing from China. The client in China asks you that, okay, for me to send this to you in Cameroon, it will cost you 5 million. And so that is how much I will sell the thing for you, 5 million. You gather 5 million and send to the customer in China, the customer ships it. The thing gets to the Paul, and Paul say you will have to pay 1 million. That is already around 6 million. Now, before the thing gets to wherever you are, you have incurred another 500,000 or another 1 million, just to assume. Now, for you to know the true cost of what you bought, you need to take that 7 million as your cost of goods. Now, this cost of goods is not including the rent you are paying. It doesn't include the rent. That's the first thing. It doesn't include the workers' salary, which is part of your business. It doesn't include electricity and the rest. So most business owners, they struggle simply because at the end of the day, what happens is that they make sales, but most of the sales end up as expenses. The margins to their product was very low. The volume of sale is very slow. So they are not making a lot of sales per day, or there are not so many sales transactions and the margins are low. So what are we advising you? The first most important thing for you to win in business is that always check how much is left when all the cost is deducted. If you want to be very much proficient to know what the business will be, you need to check if I pay my workers, if I pay my electricity bill, if I pay my rent, if I pay this, how much am I making for this product? That is vital, because at the end of the day, lot of sale is different from what? Lot of sale is different from profits. And that's why we're asking the question, why is your business making a lot of sales, yet you still struggle to pay rent, you still struggle to pay salaries, you still struggle because the product you are working or your product you are dealing with have low margins. The margins are very low and the volume of sale is also very low. Now, the second thing to take note is the law of numbers. That might be closely related to what we have said with respect to the frequency of sale. But the frequency of sale is that you sell it often. So even if the margins are low, then you can still succeed. You can still at least. But one core thing to ask, what is your market size? What is your market size? Numbers play a key role for your business to be successful. Now, if your market size is too small and the cost of goods is too high, which means they leave you with low margins, then no matter what you do, you'll struggle in that business. You'll be taking money from your friends, relatives, and the rest, putting back in the business in order to succeed. But if the margins are high, and even if the sales are not that frequent, there is possibility that you'll be able to do what? To still make gains. So the first thing is check your margins. The second thing is check what? The frequency of sale. The next thing is check your market size. If you really want to grow a business and become successful, your market size must be large. And the most important is a market size that has the potential to grow. Because if your market size doesn't have a potential to grow, then you will. What if competition joins the market? Now you must look at it from that dimension that you want a market size that what is big enough to grow. Now, if you have just joined in, please, one of the things you should do is that subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and ask a question. I'm ready to take your question. Yes, thank you for joining, and thank you for subscribing and asking for support. I really appreciate that. It's so well. Now, if you have a question, please, I will be honored to take it. We are discussing business, and this channel is about business. It's about how you can grow your business. Now, I will tell you my experience. Yes, I'm telling you what I've experienced as a business, as an entrepreneur. When I started, I was in the domain of printing. And so what happens is that we will buy paper. I'm narrating the process, so if you have never worked there, you understand. We can buy paper, and we come and go through the printing process, and you discover that you're making maybe 2 francs or 3 francs per paper. Now, no matter how we did, we were always struggling to meet up because what was left at the end of the day was too small to cover the cost and give profit. So the business was struggling. And so I learned that the hard way that margins makes the difference. Now, those who are in this domain and had maybe big machines where they can do industrial printing were profitable because they print en masse. So even if you are making 3 francs per paper and you are able to print a lot of books and other things, you'll be successful. So I learned the first lesson. The second thing is that, can your business survive long term if the owner doesn't understand its number? That's the second question I'm asking. Can a business survive, right? Can a business survive long term if you, the owner, if management doesn't understand the numbers? And what numbers are you looking for as a business owner? I already given you one. I've given you the aspect of what? Checking your margins, right? Now, one of the things we do sometimes is that we basically don't really care. When you come and see money, well, there were sales today, you're not checking your numbers. So it would be very difficult for a business to survive. And it is very much dangerous if that business is a slow selling business, if you don't check your numbers often. You don't necessarily need to be an accountant. Excuse me. You don't need to be an accountant, right, to understand numbers. Where is the money going? That is expenses. When you get this, how do you spend it? How much are you spending on rent? What percentage of the money that comes into the business per month goes for rent? Have you checked that? Once you start checking what percentage of the money that comes in goes to pay staffs, what percentage of the money that comes in a month is used to pay what? Electricity and others. If you can carve out these different percentages, you will see where majority of your expenses are. That something seems to be very high doesn't mean that it occupies that it may be this and that. The first thing is that you need to know the numbers, understand where the money is going, understand that if I don't know my numbers, you will struggle in your business, because numbers makes the difference. You will see where to optimize. Now, another thing that we don't really care is who owes me. Who is owing you, and when is he or she supposed to pay? Do you have something that notifies you? Before I embrace a system, what happens is that I only go and discover on WhatsApp message that somebody was owing me maybe 100,000 francs, or somebody was owing me 20,000, or somebody paid and this amount. We agree that this person will pay on so and so date. That was what's happening. But now, when you bring a system, what happens? A system notifies you that, okay, this person is supposed to pay on this particular day, and then you can get to that person. This amount of money is due this particular day. So apart from knowing your numbers, you need to know where the money is going, and you need to have trackers. Once you have trackers of your activities, you are able to know. Business secret number one: know your numbers. Know your numbers. How much it costs you to produce this is very, very important. What margins you are making for a product, gross margin, net profit, they're all important numbers that you should know, regardless of, you don't need to be an accountant. But many business owners allow this for accountants. Many managers don't really care. They say, oh, end of month, tell us written that. No, you need to dig deeper. Sometimes you have to go into, how is this money per individual? How much is A contributing in the organization? Now, there's something I discovered. If a business is operating and brings a staff that is underperforming, that staff brings down the average. And so, no matter the effort of us, that the low performing average staff brings down the overall performance of an organization. You must be conscious of that, because that plays a key role to how that business can be successful. Please, if you are joining us, thank you. If you have a question, please, I will be very happy to take your questions. We're discussing business and why businesses make more profits, yet they still struggle, or they make sales, yet they struggle to pay their bills, they struggle to meet their needs at the end of the month. And we've talked about the first thing we've established is that the margins are too small. Business, the size of the market is very, very. The frequency of sale may also be a problem. Now, you must know these key things. The second thing or the third thing I want to point is, why do many business owners know their number, their sales, but no idea about real profit? I already given part of the answer. Now, sales is how much money is coming into the business. Profit is what is left after all expenses and every other deductions are done. In some cases, we have to even deduct taxes. In some cases, we have to deduct maybe if we have interest to pay. To what is left in, you don't know the numbers, you don't know the real profit. Happy that you are making sales, but in reality, the business may be dying. It's just a matter of time. And most small businesses end up dying simply because what they do is that they don't know their real numbers. They're not calculating bills, removing your electricity, removing your staff payment, removing this, you end up with a negative figure. How long can that take you? Only a short distance. Only a short distance, only a short period. So in business, if you want to be successful, you must know real profit, not gross profit. Because gross profit doesn't tell you the whole story. Gross profit tells you part of the story. It doesn't tell you the whole story. So you need to know the real story, right? And the real profit. If you are looking part of the story, which is not the gross profit that you are getting and think that that's the profit of the company, then you are risking the business. That business may not be successful. So what are we saying? You must know the real numbers. Now, another issue that most businesses, they struggle with, which I want to bring up here, is that there are losses that they don't even know, especially a business that has what? Inventory. Products expire, they are not checking. There's nobody who only go and discover this product has expired. Right? There's slow moving stock. You bought something and it's making it in your pharmacy or your store. How many months? 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, it even gets. No. You need to be able to optimize. You need to know which products are fast selling. You need to know which products are delaying a lot. It takes a lot of time. And that is vital for you as a business owner to know. So let's go back to that aspect of managing your stock. Thank you for joining and thank you for liking the video. Please, if you are just joining us, I appreciate and you should subscribe. And so subscribe, please, so that whenever we are live, you will be notified. Most importantly, drop your question. And today, we are so angered by the fact that business owners don't make the profit they're supposed to make because of certain things that they could have taken care of, which they are not. And we have given the first example is they don't know their numbers. They don't know the real profit. Apart from not knowing the numbers, they cannot say, what is my real profit? They're very excited with sales. They're very excited with sales. But sales tells you just part of the story. That is what it is important. Now, how do you get the real profit? The first thing you need to know is that profit is hidden behind many things. Profit is hidden behind many things. Right? The first thing we have already mentioned, which is what? Cost of goods. Right? We have salaries, we have rents, we have transport, we have taxes, we have bank charges, we have discounts, we have damages. You must take all of this at the end of the month into account. Then get these numbers, add them all, subtract from the total sales. Then that will give you a true idea of how much that business is making. Now, but is that enough to help the business continue? No. Sometimes the biggest problem is not even just knowing the numbers. It's making use of data to track and see what can be optimized in the business even at the current state. What should you optimize? You must ask yourself, what should I optimize in my business on almost, if possible, on daily basis? What is not working well? Because until you start tracking this number, you will just think that everything is okay. But why you don't try to understand? That is very, very important. Another thing is most business owners are using Excel. And somebody said, if Excel is working for your business, When does it become a problem? That's one of the questions. When we were discussing with the client was like, if I'm already running my business on Excel, why should I need? I don't think that Excel is the enemy of your business. Actually, Excel has helped many businesses, especially in African context. Most businesses start out using Excel, but the problem is not using Excel. The problem is that you start with Excel and you end with Excel. Why? Because why Excel gets your code started, it doesn't get you going. So the question is, has many businesses become too complex to be using Excel? Yes. If you have multiple workers and you're using Excel, it becomes difficult to automate a lot of tasks. There is no immediate interaction. You cannot track which customer paid how much, when was it paid, who received the money, and so on and so forth. It's relatively difficult. It's not that you can go extra miles to try to customize some of these things, but the process is much difficult. Excel is good, but it's not scalable. So you need to grow. As a business is growing, you need to get a software. Now, most business owners fail to check. They say, no, we cannot, we're too small. We don't think that we need a software. We don't need a software. Oh, the same reason you are justifying for not getting a software is the most important reason you need to get one. You need to get a software. Have you seen any successful business running without a software? You think that is for fancy? Businesses pay a huge amount of money, millions, to get a software. If it did not add value, no business incur costs, especially when they know what they're doing, without any gain. And you think that it's not useful for you? No, it is useful. Don't deceive yourself. Get a system. Start tracking the expenses. Start tracking the sales. Start recording your customers. Start checking your suppliers. Start monitoring how long it takes to sell a product. Start evaluating your inventory. Start checking. Start making sure that there are no leakages. And then you'll gradually see a change in the business. That is a promise from real life experiences. You cannot run a successful business in the world of today without expensive. No. There are low quality tools to use. There are free tools to use, and there are expensive tools to use. So what is your justification? You don't want to embrace technology. You are very comfortable with the way you have been doing it. Despite the fact that the way you have been doing it has kept you struggling. Despite the way that at the end of the month you are still struggling to pay the bills. But make a little habit change. It's more difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. But the cost of not getting even a free-to-use application to manage your business is far higher than you making some little change. The fact that you just assume that as this business like that is very okay, you are contented. No, you should not be. Don't be contented when your business is not giving you the right results. And you say you have run this business for 10 years. Yes, for 10 years you are just there. Why have you not grown? Because you have not embraced the use of tools to facilitate work. You are not collecting data to manage your business. You are not taking stock of what is happening in the business. You seem to be very contented doing it the same way. Every blessed day, the same principle, day in, day out. Now, the next important thing I want to address for this episode is, should every business owner understand accounting, or they should simply leave that out for accountants? You need to have an accountant. But you should not outsource the knowledge that an accountant brings only to accountant. If you don't understand the basic numbers that were explained, which some of these numbers come from the accounting department, then you never really understand. You don't need to take over the accountant's job. But as a business owner, it is your duty to understand the numbers. Business success is a factor of numbers. Some people say, well, what you cannot measure, you cannot account for, something like that. Right? You should be able to measure all the measurable parts of the business. So an accountant can help management understand the numbers and make better decisions. But believe me, technology today has made it so easy that you may not even need an accountant to be working on the organization on daily basis. If you get a system, take for instance a Solafide or other accounting or Solafide software, and you're recording your transactions, you don't even need an accountant that much. You may need an accountant at the end of the month to come and look at this and analyze and give you. You don't need an accountant to come and sit. Just set up your system. As they're selling, every accounting report is automatically generated. That accounting, the data is going to the accounting. Please, if you are joining, thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe and ask your question. Today, we are so angry that business owners are making a lot of sales, but they are unable to pay their bills at the end of the day. And we want to tell you why, and we've been telling you why. We have been in this episode we have been discussing why, and I want you, if you are just joining, you need to watch the entire video to understand the background that we have laid down. That numbers makes the difference. You need to know where money is going. You need to know who is your best customers so that you can promote them, you can encourage them, you may give them bonuses by you tracking that. You need to know the relationship between you and the supplier if you have a product so that you can ask for bonuses and discounts. But you need to be able to do it to show numbers. I am bringing you every month. This is the amount of money I bring to your organization because this is how much I buy from you. You should give me a discount. Otherwise, I'm tempted to go to a competitor. Do you think the person will not? No, the person will. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the video. Please, if you join the video, please like and share. Like and share. All right? So you should be able to bargain with numbers and tell your supplier, if I'm bringing you 5 million a month because I buy from you, is it not reasonable for you to give me a discount? They'll give you. That's how you save money into the business. But you need to come and show facts that this is how much you are getting. Now, at the same time, you need to know which are your best customers and say, for buying for me and even recommending others, get this one. That's how business works. But most importantly, if you want to succeed in business, one thing is for sure, you must know your numbers. Knowing the numbers is not enough. Knowing the numbers is just one part of the whole model. Acting based on the numbers. And I've given a simple way. Digitalization. Now, one of the things we believe at Solafide is technology plus empower staff equals to organizational excellence, which means there is no business, big or small. Even if you are running a one-man business, you need to get an app. There are mobile apps, free, right? Even Solafide, if you have a small business, you can use Solafide without paying. You can use it. It's only when you get to a certain level that they may seek certain things, but you can use it for free. So don't give an excuse that, well, I cannot afford for. Well, I'm too small. Well, no, please, that is an excuse. But you need to do better, right? Yes, you need to do better. So if you have a question, please drop your question and I will happily take it. This is Solafide Accounting, where we discuss business management, where we tell you how to manage your business. If you are there, others soon in our subsequent some previous videos, we have discussed how OHADA is useful and the need for OHADA compliance in running your business. And much more, we'll be discussing more about business management. Business management is what we're out for. We want to help organizations and individuals to be able to be successful by giving them all the secrets. And today we're discussing why you are struggling with your business. Making sales, yet you are not profitable. And it's a topic that we're very vexed with it. So we want to thank you for liking, and I do appreciate. Can accounting software prevent businesses from losing money? Yes, significantly. Software in itself cannot magically stop you from losing money. But what software does is that it brings to you something you will not have on your own as an individual. You will not be able to. Software can come and do what? Help you to be able to know earlier before it happens why stocks are disappearing. Let me tell you an example, a situation where we onboarded Solafide in a pharmacy. And what this pharmacy person told us is that they were using a system. And even the staff, some staffs there was a dubious staff who tried to manipulate the system. What the staff did is that the staff will come and sell something today and don't record it within the sales of today. We record in a sales of maybe 1 month or 1 week ago, so that when they're compiling records for this day, that particular sale will not appear. But the problem the staff did not know was that the system tracks when that particular item was sold, even if you backdate it, and who did that. So a good system should be able to track whoever did what when it was done. Even if you change the date and say, okay, I sold, this thing was sold on the 10th, they will say, okay, this thing was sold on the 10th, but the transaction was recorded when? Today. And this is the person who recorded it at this particular time. We can know whether you are at work at that particular day and so on and so forth, since you have what? Access to the system, and that access is classified or secure. So what are we saying? A software will reduce stock from disappearing. A software will tell you which stocks are getting expired if you are dealing with such type of products. A software will tell you products are taking too long to be sold. A software will tell you which customers are bringing a lot of unpaid, a lot of accumulating and not paying you. If you don't have a software, some of these things you'll only be guessing. You'll only be imagining. You'll only be assuming. So if you don't have the information you need to, you will be reacting. Either of being proactive, you'll be reacting. Going to find. So a good system in your business creates control, accountability, and visibility. And so you need it. A good system does what? It creates controls, it brings accountability, it brings visibility, which you need to succeed in your business as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as management. Now, what is more dangerous to your business? Is it low sales or poor financial visibility? What do you think is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to your business? Poor financial visibility is more dangerous than low sales. Because at least when sales are low, you know you have a problem. But when you are selling, you do sales, but you don't know your numbers. The dangerous situation is when you think everything is fine because sales look good, while money is leaking somewhere else within the system. You are not aware. Money keeps going out of the system. It's leaking out of the system and you are not aware. But sales are going. And that is how we call it there's what we call the leaky bucket theory. The theory says that if there's a hole within your bucket, as water keeps dripping, or anything you put there, maybe liquid keeps oozing out or dripping out, you end up with an empty bucket. That is what happens to most businesses. They lack financial visibility, and such, whatever happens, they are not aware. They cannot account for what is happening in the business because there is no control, there's no accountability, there's no visibility. So it's preferably you have low sales than you have what? A lot of sales, but you don't know what is happening to your business. Please, thank you for joining. Now, another question we want to answer in this edition is that why do businesses keep using systems that they already know are inefficient? This is one of the lessons we learned when we were working with Solafide. There's a video we did which talk about lessons we learned during Solafide. What did we find? people don't always resist because they don't know or they don't see the problem. That's not why people resist. Sometimes they resist because change itself has a cost. Right? Yes, change in itself has a cost. So people don't resist. They know the problem. And what I learned is that most business owners, they understand the challenges. They know sales are low. They know their stocks are getting missing. They know they come and meet expired stocks. But at the end of the day, why is it they keep going in that way? I say, okay, it's costly. They don't want to change. Change it has a cost. You already know Excel. Employees already know how to use Excel. The accountant already knows Excel. The files are there. The processes are similar. They're not only familiar, but they're similar. That's what we've done before. Even when they see a better solution, they'll still resistance. They see a better solution, they still resistance because it enables you need to change. There is a habit element that you have not included in your organization. They need to change to embody or get something that is good. So what are we saying in today's teaching? For you and your business to stop making losses, or for you to be making a lot of sales, yet still struggling to pay your bills, you need to look at these things that we have discussed. Number one, know your gross profit, the cost of bringing in items that you sell. Number two, don't limit yourself to gross profit. Know the real profit. Real profit is what is left for the business after you have deducted the cost of the goods, you have deducted your sales, your salaries, you have deducted rent, you have deducted taxes, you have deducted bank charges or Momo charges or whatever system you are using, you have deducted discounts and many others. Right? Then we can talk about profits. And the success of a business long term is on profit. If your business started and it was profitable and the profits are dying or reducing, there is a future wahala. So that is what we are saying. Please, if you are joining, please like and subscribe. Be a part of this community because we are angered about what we'll be doing from this till the end of the month and even the next coming month. It's about business management. It's about how you can turn that business from being not profitable into a profitable business. This comes from our experience building a company resource management system, a software that manages the whole organization. Today we're talking about sales. Tomorrow we're talking about the human resource aspect. Today we'll talk about technology and so many other things. So join and be part of it. So dear friends and our fellow, we want to change the strategy of businesses in Africa. And one of the things we are doing is that we're bringing the knowledge. We're bringing the tools. We're not telling you theory. We have tools that we have built to help you. But we're not saying it's not only about our tools. If you cannot pay a tool, you can get the one that's free, right? Or you get the one that's cheap. Don't give an excuse. It's not like ours is expensive. We have the free. If you go to Solafide, you have the free plan. You can get it. So dear friends, we want to be able to help businesses grow within the continent. It is very, very important. And there is no way to do that without knowledge. So in this channel, we are focusing on business management. Everything about business. Do you have a startup? Yes, we have something to tell you about startup. We have gone through the process, building a startup, and we know what it means. The philosophy behind building any business as a startup. Building a product, how there is a relationship between product development and customer problems. How do you synchronize the two? Regardless of whatever you are building, there's some principles that successful companies have used. I'll be bringing them to you. Now, whatever business you are managing, is it a service business? Is it a school management, a school? Is it a shop? Is it a supermarket? Because we have worked with these different businesses, we have some level of experience we believe we can bring to the table. So, please, there is only one thing I will ask you to do. Be part of the community. Like, subscribe, and share. Because we want to influence the business landscape in Africa. That is our dream. We are starting with Ohada, but we want to bring you real knowledge how to manage your business. And today we talked about numbers. Don't make the error that we have made. Don't continue to make the error you are making. Don't continue to live in excuses. Say, I cannot use a software because I'm small. I cannot use technology because it's just one-man business. I cannot. No, you need to. Those are fundamentals. Don't say, yes, I've been using this system. I'm very comfortable when you know that that system is not meeting your needs. It's time to challenge those principles and those practices you have done that keep you struggling at the end of the month. It's a challenge that we're bringing. We're not challenging only you, we're challenging ourselves also. In what we do, we want to be able to, we believe that there is a need for Africans to arrive and see business from a different dimension. And we are ready to do that with you. So, to know more, please subscribe to the channel so that you'll be notified. And you can know more about us. Go to our profile or you go to our website, solafideonline.com. solafideonline.com. We are available on most social media platforms. We're available on Facebook, Solafide Accounting. We are on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. And this way we are having us, or any other platform you are getting us. So, until then, I'm your friend, and see you in the next video. Thank you for being part of this particular video. Like and subscribe to this channel. That is the best way. Help us to grow so that we grow together. Help somebody to know about this thing because they are likely useful. This is refined knowledge from building a system that manages businesses. And we have seen it first time. We have seen it in other businesses and we're bringing it to you. And so the only thing you can do to us is to be part of the community. Thank you and see you next time.